The truth. Nobody told you about power. Most people hear the name Machiavelli and picture a shadowy figure whispering secrets behind a throne. They imagine schemes, betrayal, and cold ambition. But that version of Machiavelli is a myth created by people who never read him or only skimmed his most famous lines. The real Machiavelli was not a villain. He was a man who watched how power moved, how people succeeded or collapsed, and how individuals rose from nothing to reshape entire nations. His writing holds a message that most readers miss. You are stronger, freer, and more capable than you think, and what stops you is rarely the world. It is usually the story you believe about yourself. There is a reason his ideas have survived for more than 500 years. They speak to anyone who has ever struggled, been underestimated, or felt trapped. Machiavelli understood how people react under pressure, how they cling to comfort, and how easily they surrender their potential when the world pushes back. Yet hidden beneath his political lessons is a personal code. It is a call to take responsibility for your own path, to recognize how much control you actually have, and to stop waiting for perfect conditions that will never arrive. His message is uncomfortable because it demands courage, but it is also liberating because it gives your power back to you. This video uncovers that code and translates it into modern terms. It is not about politics. It is about self-leadership. It is about understanding the forces that shape your life and using them instead of letting them use you. If you stay with this, you will see how Machiavelli's ideas reveal something simple but life-changing. Nobody can hold you back, break you, or stop you unless you allow it. Your strength is not granted by your circumstances. It is forged by the clarity of your choices and the honesty with which you face your own reality. 1. Machiavelli's realism and the power of seeing the world clearly. Machiavelli believed that the first step toward power is seeing the world as it truly is, not as you wish it to be. He criticized leaders who lived in fantasies because fantasies break under pressure. The same applies to individuals. People often fall into the trap of believing that life should be fair, predictable, or comfortable. Machiavelli knew that expecting fairness is the fastest way to lose your advantage. When you expect life to be smooth, every setback feels personal. Every rejection feels like a sign that you are not meant to succeed. But when you accept reality, you stop being surprised by difficulty, and you start preparing for it. This mindset doesn't make you cynical. It makes you capable. He insisted that people who control their reactions are stronger than people who try to control the world. You cannot edit reality, but you can sharpen your awareness. You can train yourself to recognize when a situation is shifting, when a person's intentions are changing, and when an opportunity is forming. Clarity is a form of strength. Machiavelli saw that most failures are not caused by a lack of talent. They are caused by a lack of attention. People ignore warning signs, signs of growth, or signs of decline because they are too busy hoping instead of observing. When you learn to see without distortion, you move faster, choose better, and respond with purpose. Machiavelli's realism is not pessimism. It is a commitment to face life without filters. When you adopt this mindset, you stop waiting for permission and stop letting discomfort stop you. You understand that you can improve your situation only when you understand it. You start asking better questions. What is actually happening? What can I control today? What am I avoiding because it is difficult? These questions turn fear into strategy. They turn confusion into direction. And once you learn to see clearly, no one can manipulate you, discourage you, or derail you as easily again. 2. Fortuna, control, and the truth about external obstacles. One of Machiavelli's core ideas is the relationship between fortune and control. He wrote that half of life is shaped by fortune, but the other half is shaped by our ability to respond to it. People love to focus on the first half. They blame luck, timing, upbringing, society, or circumstances. Machiavelli never denied that these things exist, but he refused to let them define the whole story. He believed that fortune only has power over those who do not prepare themselves. The river of life will flood from time to time. You cannot stop that. But you can build the banks higher long before it happens. This idea becomes a direct challenge to the belief that external obstacles are in total control. To Machiavelli, obstacles are real, but they are not absolute. When people say someone held them back, what they really mean is that they did not yet know how to navigate the situation. This is not an insult, it is the beginning of empowerment. If someone can block your progress, it means they have leverage you have not learned to counter yet. Once you study the dynamics, the leverage disappears. Machiavelli believed that most obstacles shrink when you stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. You do not have to overpower challenges. You only have to outposition them. He also taught that fortune favors people who act boldly, not recklessly. Boldness is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to let fear set your limits. When you work consistently, build skills, and strengthen your character, life bends slightly in your favor. Opportunities become more visible because your eyes are trained to see them. Obstacles become less intimidating because you understand how to approach them. And luck becomes something you generate through preparation. Machiavelli's message is simple. Fortune may push you, but it cannot break you unless you stop pushing back. When you take ownership of the half you control, the other half feels far less threatening. 3. Virtù, the inner force that no one can take from you. Machiavelli used the word virtù to describe the force that allows a person to shape their own path. It is not morality or politeness. It is personal strength, courage, adaptability, and the willingness to take action, even when the outcome is not guaranteed. To Machiavelli, virtù is what separates people who move through life passively from those who influence their world. It is a mix of discipline and boldness, a commitment to improvement, and an ability to face reality without breaking. Many people misunderstand Machiavelli because they focus on the tactics and ignore virtù, which he saw as the true foundation of power. He believed that virtù grows every time you choose responsibility over excuses. It grows when you hold yourself accountable, when you refuse to surrender to setbacks, and when you learn from every loss instead of collapsing under it. Machiavelli knew people are quick to blame the world, but blame does nothing. Blame leaves you frozen. Virtù emerges when you admit what is in your control and act on it again and again. This does not mean becoming harsh or emotionless. It means choosing strength over self-pity. It means recognizing that you are not defined by your past but by your ability to build your future. What makes virtù powerful is that no one can take it from you. Someone can remove opportunities. They can criticize you, underestimate you, or shut you out, but they cannot remove your discipline, your resilience, or your ability to adapt unless you hand those things over. Virtù is internal armor. It is not built by comfort, but by challenge. Machiavelli's message is clear. The world does not shape you unless you allow it to. You shape yourself each time you stand back up. When you understand this, the idea that someone else can stop you starts to lose its meaning. 4. Fear, respect, and the strength of self-control. Machiavelli is famous for his discussion of fear and respect, but people often oversimplify it. He never said fear is better than love for personal relationships. What he meant is that stability comes from being reliable, disciplined, and difficult to manipulate. Fear, in his sense, is really about boundaries. If people know you are someone who does not tolerate disrespect, they treat you differently. This principle applies not only to leaders, but to anyone trying to improve their life. When you are consistent, focused, and self-controlled, people cannot push you around easily. He believed that self-control is one of the most powerful forms of strength. Most people are controlled by their reactions. They react to criticism with anger. They react to stress with avoidance. They react to discomfort by quitting. Machiavelli saw this pattern in politics and in everyday life. He believed that someone who can master their reactions becomes unpredictable in a good way. When you are calm, people cannot pull you into unnecessary conflict. When you are focused, they cannot distract you. When you are grounded, they cannot break your confidence with simple pressure. Your stability makes you strong. Fear also connects to courage. Machiavelli understood that courage is not natural for most people. It is something you build by facing your fears deliberately. When you act despite fear, you reduce its influence. When you avoid fear, it grows. He believed that respect is earned through consistent bravery, even in small decisions. You become someone others look up to because you refuse to collapse when things get hard. The lesson is not to intimidate others, but to build yourself into a person who cannot be intimidated. True respect, in Machiavelli's view, comes from inner steadiness, not external force. 5. Adaptability and the art of staying unstoppable. Life changes quickly. Machiavelli lived in a time full of political instability, shifting alliances, and unexpected dangers. He watched people rise fast when they adapted, and fall just as fast when they refused to change. He believed that rigidity is a form of weakness. People who insist on doing things the same way, even when the situation changes, eventually fail. Adaptability, on the other hand, is a superpower. You stay ahead, not by being perfect, but by adjusting your approach faster than circumstances can trap you. He compared successful leaders to rivers that change course when blocked. If the water cannot flow forward, it will flow around the obstacle, carving a new path. This is how he believed people should operate. When you face resistance, you do not argue with reality, you move differently. You look for new angles, new strategies, and new opportunities. The people who succeed long-term are the ones who refuse to be stuck. They learn new skills, change their routines, and update their beliefs when needed. Adaptability is proof of mental flexibility, and that flexibility makes you hard to stop. But adaptability is not the same as inconsistency. Machiavelli believed you should stay committed to your purpose while adjusting your methods. Many people confuse changing strategy with giving up. In reality, changing strategy is what keeps you in the game. When you adapt, you protect your momentum, you reduce frustration, you find solutions faster, and most importantly, you avoid being controlled by circumstances. You become someone who cannot be cornered because you always have another path. This is one of Machiavelli's hidden codes. If you stay adaptable, no obstacle can ever fully trap you. You become unstoppable not through brute force, but through fluidity. 6. The psychology of power, understanding human nature. Machiavelli believed that to navigate life effectively, you must understand human nature. Not in a cynical way, but in a realistic way. People often expect others to be loyal, consistent, and selfless. They set themselves up for disappointment, because these expectations ignore how most people think and act. Machiavelli saw that people are guided by fear, comfort, opportunity, and self-interest far more than ideals. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You stop being blindsided by behavior that should have been predictable. You start reading situations with clarity instead of emotion. He explained that people admire strength because it creates stability. They follow those who appear confident because confidence signals direction. They support those who reward them because reward signals opportunity. These patterns have nothing to do with politics. They play out in friendships, workplaces, families, and personal goals. When you understand what motivates people, you learn how to avoid unnecessary conflict. You learn how to choose better allies. You learn how to protect your focus from those who drain your energy or sabotage your progress. Human nature is not an obstacle, it is a map. Machiavelli's genius was showing how to read it. Understanding human nature also protects you from feeling defeated. When you know that people act out of their own fears and desires, you stop internalizing their doubt or criticism. Someone rejecting you does not always mean you lack value. Sometimes it means they cannot see beyond their own perspective. Someone trying to hold you back is often trying to protect their comfort, not destroy your potential. Once you recognize this, the emotional weight lifts. Their behavior stops controlling your direction. You take your power back because you stop letting their reactions define what you do next. 7. Discipline and the hard edge of self-mastery. Machiavelli respected discipline more than charm, talent, or ambition. In his view, discipline was the engine behind all lasting power. Without it, motivation fades, confidence breaks, and potential goes unused. People love the idea of success, but they struggle with the consistency required to reach it. Machiavelli believed that discipline is what keeps you moving when excitement disappears. It is what makes your actions reliable when life becomes unpredictable. And it is the quality that allows you to grow through challenges instead of retreating from them. He saw that self-mastery is not a single decision. It is built through repeated actions that strengthen your character. You become disciplined when you do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. You develop self-mastery when you resist the urge to quit, complain, or expect someone else to fix your problems. Discipline gives you the ability to stay focused while others are distracted, to improve while others are stagnant, and to rise while others wait. It protects your momentum because it does not rely on mood. It relies on commitment. The power of discipline is that it makes you unbreakable from the inside. If someone tries to undermine you, your habits keep you moving. If a situation becomes difficult, your consistency keeps you stable. If fortune turns against you, your preparation cushions the impact. Machiavelli understood that discipline transforms you from someone who hopes for progress into someone who produces it. This is why no one can truly stop a disciplined person. They may slow you down, but they cannot erase your progress. Your habits have already built a foundation that stands even when the world shakes. 8. Choosing the right allies and protecting your circle. Machiavelli believed that alliances are one of the most overlooked sources of strength or vulnerability. He warned that many people fail not because of their enemies, but because of the people they choose to trust. In personal life, this plays out when you surround yourself with those who drain your energy, discourage your goals, or secretly resent your progress. Machiavelli observed that people often keep these relationships out of habit or fear of being alone. But your environment is one of the strongest forces shaping your direction. You cannot grow in soil that refuses to nourish you. He believed that the best allies are people who share your values, match your effort, and contribute to your stability. They may not always agree with you, but they want to see you rise. They challenge you to improve instead of encouraging your weaknesses. They support your ambition instead of being threatened by it. Machiavelli valued allies who were reliable, self-driven, and loyal to mutual benefit rather than personal gain. When you learn to recognize these qualities, you elevate your entire path. Success becomes smoother because you are not walking alone or fighting unnecessary battles. At the same time, he emphasized the importance of removing harmful influences. This does not mean acting cruelly, it means protecting your energy and your direction. When someone consistently distracts you, manipulates you, or pulls you into chaos, you must create distance. Machiavelli understood that people who cannot control themselves often try to control others. If you are not careful, they will pull you off track. But when you build a circle of supportive, driven, and honest people, you become harder to stop. Your environment becomes a source of strength, not sabotage, and that strength multiplies your ability to rise. 9. Resilience. Rising after the fall. Machiavelli spent much of his own life in hardship. He was imprisoned, tortured, exiled, and pushed out of the political world he dedicated himself to. Yet instead of collapsing, he rebuilt himself through writing. His resilience was not theoretical, it was lived. He believed that falling is not a failure. Staying down is. Life will break your plans, test your patience, and put you through seasons when nothing seems to move. Machiavelli saw these moments as the true measure of a person's strength. When everything is against you, your character becomes visible. This is when virtù sharpens. He understood that suffering has a strange way of revealing your potential. Most people underestimate their own endurance until they have no choice but to use it. Resilience grows when you face discomfort instead of escaping it. It grows when you treat setbacks as information instead of insults. Machiavelli believed that no victory is permanent, but no failure is permanent either. Life constantly shifts. What matters is your ability to shift with it. You become strong by continuing when progress is slow, by rebuilding when life destroys what you built, and by trusting that grinding forward still leads upward, even when you can't see the peak. To Machiavelli, resilience was the trait that made a person truly unstoppable. You cannot control fortune, but you can control your response. You cannot avoid hardship, but you can choose to rise after it. No enemy, critic, or setback can break someone who refuses to stay broken. This is the heart of his hidden code. Your strength is not measured by how often you avoid pain, but by how often you stand up after pain. The world may knock you down, but only you decide whether you stay down. 10. The courage to take command of your life. Machiavelli believed that most people never claim their true potential because they never take command of their own life. They wait, they hesitate, they hope someone else will open a door, offer an opportunity, guide them, or give them permission. But waiting is the enemy of progress. Machiavelli saw that people lose years to hesitation because they fear making the wrong move. He argued that making no move is far worse. When you take command of your choices, you take command of your destiny. You stop being shaped by circumstances and start shaping them. He emphasized that courage is not a dramatic moment, it is a habit. It is the willingness to act when you are unsure. It is commitment to show up when you are scared. It is the decision to start even when the path isn't perfect. Machiavelli respected boldness because bold action creates momentum. It transforms ideas into reality. It turns fear into fuel. People who take command do not wait for ideal conditions. They build on the conditions they have. They use small steps to create large shifts. Over time, those small shifts turn into opportunities that others call luck. This courage also means owning your outcomes. When you take command, you stop blaming the world for your lack of progress. You stop giving your power away to people who doubt you or situations that disappoint you. Machiavelli believed that the person who takes responsibility becomes the person who can change things. You cannot grow if you outsource your agency. You cannot expand if you treat yourself as a victim of fate. Courage is the gateway to freedom, and those who cultivate it cannot be held back for long. Conclusion: Machiavelli's hidden code and the power already in you. Machiavelli is often misunderstood because people focus on the harshness in his writing and overlook the empowerment behind it. At its core, his philosophy delivers a message that is more human and encouraging than most people realize. He believed that you are far stronger than your circumstances. He believed that the world cannot stop someone who knows how to adapt, who studies human nature, who practices discipline, who builds virtù, and who controls their own reactions. His teachings are not a manual for manipulation. They are a blueprint for self-leadership. The hidden code is simple. No one can hold you back unless you hand them the authority to do so. No one can break a person who continues to rebuild. No obstacle can stop someone who adapts faster than the problem. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need approval. You do not need a life without setbacks. You need clarity, discipline, courage, resilience, and responsibility. These qualities make you untouchable from within. They turn you into someone who cannot be derailed by opinion, fear, criticism, or difficulty. If you take anything from Machiavelli's real message, let it be this: your freedom and strength come from you, not from luck, not from circumstances, not from permission. The moment you take ownership of your path, life opens. The moment you decide to think clearly, act boldly, adapt quickly, and rise repeatedly, you become someone who cannot be stopped. That is Machiavelli's code, and it belongs to anyone ready to use it.